Good morning, children.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning, ma'am.
We started with the different characteristic features or criteria for classifying animal kingdom into phyla. A few we had completed discussing, and the last class we mainly focused on the categorization of animals based on their body cavity, coelom. And we learned that there are three types. You can categorize animals into three types based on their coelom, based on the presence of coelom. Which are those three? Meenakshi, Vijay. Which are the three?
Coelomate,
Coelomate,
pseudocoelomate,
huh? Yes, correct.
pseudocoelomate.
Pseudocoelomate. Pseudocoelomate, acoelomate, and coelomate. So what is meant by acoelomate animals? Nivin was absent in the last class. Nivin, what happened last class? Oh, Nivin, any connectivity issue? I'm not able to hear you. Yes? Vidhur, tell me what are acoelomates?
Their body cavity is absent.
Yes, body cavity or body cavity can be there, but you should say the body cavity, the true body cavity, coelom is absent. Okay. Next point, Punya, what are pseudocoelomates?
They have false or not complete coelomate.
What is the speciality with coelom?
They have small pouches of coelom which is not surrounded completely.
Mesoderm forms scattered pouches, which you call as pseudocoelom. And what is true coelom? Donna, what is meant by true coelom?
The body cavity in it which is not lined by mesoderm, and they are also
Listen to my question. True
which is
coelom.
lined by mesoderm.
The body cavity which is lined by coelom is said to be, sorry, it's lined by mesoderm is said to be coelom.
Coelomate.
And animals having?
Possessing this body cavity are known as coelomates.
Okay. So let us continue. So today we will be learning a few more criteria for categorizing animals. So we have already completed 4 points, 4 criteria. Now we are going to see the 5th criterion, metamerism or segmentation. Metamerism or segmentation. You can see the pictures of some segmented animals over there. And in some animals, the body consists of similar parts. The body consists of similar parts or segments. And we call it as metameres also. In certain animals, the body is divided into similar parts and you call it as segments or metameres. And this is known as, this method of segmenting or this method of dividing the body into different parts by means of segments is known as metamerism. Once again, I will repeat, in certain animals, the body is divided into similar parts or segments known as metameres. This method of segmentation is known as metamerism. Once again, metamerism means in organisms having this property, their body will be divided into similar parts or segments known as metameres. You can see in the case of an earthworm or a centipede or in a millipede, you can find the body is divided into several segments. Annelids and arthropods, the phyla, annelids and arthropods, Annelida and Arthropoda, the 2 phyla, here example for metameric organisms or organisms where metameric segmentation is found. Annelids and arthropods show metameric segmentation. Arthropods includes all the insects, and annelids, you know, the segmented worms like earthworm, leech, needles, all that come under annelids. Invertebrates, that is including human beings. In vertebrates also, metamerism is found, but only internal metamerism. Certain parts of your body show internal metamerism, like your nervous system, skeletal system, presence of vertebra, then presence of ribs, all that are some internal segmentation found in the skeletal system of vertebrates. Okay, so once again I will repeat the fifth criterion for classifying animals into different categories. In certain animals, the body will be divided into similar parts or segments. You call these segments as metameres. And this process of segmentation is known as metamerism. Metamerism is characteristic of the phyla Annelida and Arthropoda. In vertebrates, you can find internal metamerism where some parts of your body will be segmented internally. For example, your skeletal system, you can find the ribs and vertebra. Next one is notochord. The sixth criterion is the presence of a notochord, and it's a supporting role. About this we have learned in 9th standard. It's a supporting role which you can find on the upper side, the dorsal side, during the embryonic stage in some animals. In vertebrates also, presence of notochord is a prominent feature. We do have notochord in our embryonic stage, but later when you grow up, when you transform, the embryonic stage it is present, but as the development proceeds, the notochord will change into, can anyone say what happens to the notochord? It will change into which part of your body? Class 9. Diversity in the living world. Yes?
Spinal cord?
No. Spinal cord, dorsal nerve cord forms the brain and spinal cord. But notochord becomes anybody. What protects your spinal cord, Kevin?
Backbone.
Backbone or vertebral column. So it is a supporting rod. You can see the picture of the notochord present, and nerve cord and notochord both are shown. And in vertebrates also we do have nerve cord as well as notochord. Nerve cord will change into your brain and spinal cord, your nervous system, whereas notochord becomes the vertebral column. So it's a supporting role present on the dorsal side during the embryonic development in certain animals. And all animals are not having notochord. Those which are having notochord, we call them as chordates. And those which do not have, we call them as non-chordates. Got it? So that was the next criterion, sixth one. And it's a presence of notochord. Notochord is not found in all organisms. So based on the presence or absence of notochord, you can classify the organisms broadly into chordates and non-chordates. Chordates are having a notochord and non-chordates are not having a notochord. And what is the notochord? Notochord is a supporting rod which runs along the back of the animal, runs along the dorsal side of the organism, and it is present during the embryonic stage. And as development proceeds, it will be replaced or it will be transformed into vertebral column in the case of vertebrates. Now, Animalia, as I told you, you can broadly classify into chordates and non-chordates based on the presence or absence of notochord. Animalia broadly classified into chordates and non-chordates based on the presence of the notochord. Okay, Nevin. Now is it okay, Nevin, your network?
Keeps on lagging sometimes.
So we learned about the fifth and sixth criteria for classifying animals today. So which are they? Evelyn, which are the 2 points we discussed?
Metabolism and notochord.
Metabolism. Is that metabolism, Evelyn? Did I say both metabolism? Oh, yeah, okay. Metabolism. Yes. Metabolism and
Notochord.
notochord. What is meant by metabolism, Rijas? What is meant by metabolism?
Metabolism.
Rijas is saying the answer? Yes. Rijas. You are saying I can't hear or you are checking from the book? Don't know? Didn't pay attention? Malavika, you have to repeat after Malavika. Yes, Malavika?
In some animals, their body is divided into different segments or are formed from different
What
parts.
do you call these segments?
Metos.
Metameres. And this process is known as metamerism. What is that, Rajas? You thought I will leave? No, I need to get the answer.
In some animals, the body is
Some
divided.
animals don't read, then you have to repeat.
The body is divided into similar parts.
What do you call those parts?
Metameres.
And this process is known as?
Metameres.
Okay. And Anna, give me 2 examples.
Annelids to arthropods.
Annelids and arthropods. And invertebrates, what type of metamerism you find? Nandana, what type of metamerism you find?
Only internal.
Internal metamerism. Which was the next point we discussed? Gayatri, which point?
Notocode.
Notocode. What is a notocode, Gayatri? What is a notocode?
It's a road which is
Present
present
on which side?
dorsal side organism, and it develops into backward.
When it is present, during which stage it is present?
Embryo.
During the embryonic stage. And based on the presence of this, how can you classify the organisms, Midul?
Animals with notochord, chordates. And
Notocode?
non-notochord, non-chordates.
Okay, no notocode, non-chordates. Okay. So now we will continue. Now, already we learned about the categorization of organisms or animals into chordates and non-chordates. So first we are going to learn about the different phyla coming under non-chordates. So the non-chordates consists of, or it can be divided into several phyla. So already some of the majority of these phyla you have learned in class 9. Starting with the first one, Porifera. In brackets it is written sponges because the members of the phylum Porifera are generally known as sponges. Okay, details we will learn later. Second one, Cnidaria. You call the group as jellyfishes. Jellyfish is one member of this particular phylum, but it is more familiar to you as Coelenterata. You have learned in 9th standard. Coelenterata or Cnidaria. And the third one, this one, the third, that is Ctenophora, you have not learned in 9th standard. This is new one for you. And the members of this particular phylum we call as comb jellies. We call them as comb jellies. Then, moving on to the next one, Platyhelminthes. Flatworms. It consists of flatworms. This also you have learned before. Next one, Aschelminthes. You have learned it as Nematoda. Aschelminthes, Nematoda, both are same. It includes roundworms. Platyhelminthes includes flatworms and Aschelminthes include roundworms. Then comes Annelida. They are commonly known as ringed worms because they have ring-like metameres, which you will learn later. And about each phylum, you will be learning in detail. Arthropoda. Arthro means joints. Poda means legs. So arthropoda, joint-legged organisms come under that category. Then mollusca, soft-bodied. Echinodermata, spiny-skinned. And one more new which you're going to learn, hemichordata. So these are hemichordata because they are having some features of chordates. half chordate, we can say. So we call them as hemichordata. Each one you're going to learn in detail. All the points about each of these phylum you will be learning. So once again, we'll start from first. And if the terms are confusing, you can even write down and learn, because you should not make mistakes with these spellings. Except one or two, all the other phyla you have learned in your lower class. And starting from the first one, Porifera. One more thing, children, you should learn it in the same order, because the complexity increases as we move from Porifera to Hemichordata. So if you know the phyla in order, it will be easy to remember the points, because all the features, it progressive, or it progresses, or it improves. It becomes better and better as we move from Porifera to Hemichordata. The simplest one will be Porifera, and out of this, the most complex will be Hemichordata. So the complexity increases as we move from one phylum to the other. So please ensure you can use some codes like we remember all the colors, all the 7 colors in rainbow with the help of the term Vibgyor. So just like that, make your own mnemonics and recollect it. Porifera, Cnidaria, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Astralminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata. Porifera, Cnidaria or Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Astralminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and Hemichordata. Only Ctenophora and Hemichordata are new to you. Remaining all you have learned in class 9. So we'll start with our first one, first phylum, and non-chordates, that is Porifera. Okay? You want to note down the names? Then I'll give a few more seconds. Porifera including sponges, Cnidaria with jellyfishes, Ctenophora including comb jellies, and Platyhelminthes with flatworms, Astralminthes with roundworms, Annelida with ringed worms, Arthropoda with joint-legged organisms, Mollusca with soft-bodied animals or even shelled animals, Echinodermata which are spiny-skinned, and finally the Hemichordata. So we will be starting with the first one, Porifera. I hope you're remembering what you learned in class 9. Porifera. As soon as you hear the name, the term that should come to your mind is pores, because the members of this phyla, they are provided with minute pores all over their body. So one by one, let us see the different characteristic features of phylum Porifera. Commonly, we call them as sponges. A typical example of the picture of a typical sponge you can find on the right hand side of the slide. And these are generally marine. So these are generally marine organisms. Generally, they are marine. Then they are asymmetrical. Asymmetrical, you already know what is meant by asymmetry, because you cannot divide them into two identical halves by cutting it along any plane. Then the next point you should know is that they are primitive, multicellular organism. Even though they are multicellular, they are the simplest or oldest multicellular organisms. Primitive multicellular organisms. Then another point you should know about them is they exhibit cellular level of organization. So you have learned about different levels of organization: cellular level, tissue level, organ system level. This one shows cellular level of organization. So once again, I will repeat these points. They are mostly marine. Majority of them are found in marine waters. They are asymmetrical, which means you cannot divide their body into two identical halves by cutting it along any plane. Then they are the oldest primitive multicellular organisms, and they exhibit cellular level of organization. Hope you got these points. Okay. Now coming to their habit, already we said they are found in marine habitat. They are aquatic, found in water bodies. Sedentary means generally when you say about animals, you have learned from your lower classes, animals can move, plants cannot move. But this group of organisms, they are an exceptional case where they are fixed at one place. These animals cannot move. They are sedentary. They are fixed at one place. Okay. They are fixed at one place and they are solitary or colonial. Solitary means they can grow individually, have independent existence, and some of them, they form groups or form colonies, like corals, coral reefs you are familiar with. Corals are also, corals doesn't come under this. Sponge corals are under Coelenterata by mistake. Okay, so these are group of, some of them they form groups, some of the species they can form groups and they form colonies. Then next about their digestive system. So now we know about their habitat. They are found in marine habitat, or else you can say they are aquatic, mainly in marine waters. They are fixed at one place. They can either have an independent existence or they can live in groups or colonies. And digestive system. Here organ systems, as I told in the beginning, no organ system, cellular level, only cells are there. Cells have not formed tissues or organs or organ system. So digestive system is absent. Digestion is intracellular, means the digestion is taking place within the cells, inside. Intra means inside. So within the cells, the digestion takes place. Now you might be thinking, how can the digestion, or without a digestive system, how this process is carried out? So here the digestion, excretion, etc. is carried out by a peculiar method known as water transport system or water canal system. Very important point. One of the most important points about sponges or porifera. The prominent point I told you, they have pores all over their body. We will learn about those pores later. And water transport system or canal system they have, and this canal system helps not only in gathering food, but it also helps them in exchanging gases, removing waste, exchanging, gathering, helps them to gather food, exchange gases, and also to remove waste. Exchange gases and also for removing waste. It is multi-purpose. Remove waste. So for all these, they don't have to remove for the excretion, for intake of food, for respiration, for exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide. They don't have any separate systems. Instead, the water canal system is a digestive system, respiratory system, excretory system, all rolled into one. So they'll perform all the features, or these functions are carried out by the water transport or canal system. Now let's see how this water transport system is working. So see the figure, you can see a bigger opening on the top. You call it as osculum. You can see an opening on the top, you call it as osculum. So apart from that, there are so many other openings. Here it is mentioned as porocytes. It is same as ostia. In your textbook, it is mentioned as ostia. Ostium singular, ostia plural. So ostia or porocytes are present throughout, scattered throughout their body. You can see some arrows, green colored arrows pointing in. So water will enter. It is found in water body, marine water. So through these smaller, its body is covered with minute pores known as ostia. In the figure it is mentioned porocytes, but learn it as ostia because that is the term given in your textbook. And it is because of these pores or ostia present throughout their body, the members of this group is known as sponges, or because in a sponge you can see small pores. If you take a piece of sponge, what is most striking in that? Small holes. So it is because of the presence of these small holes you call them as sponges, or you call the phylum as Porifera because of the presence of minute pores all over its body. These minute pores are known as ostia. Okay, and through these ostia, it's living in water body, and the water where it is present, that water will be entering through these ostia. See the green arrows. So it will enter through these ostia scattered throughout the body, and this water will be having oxygen plus food particles. Both, all that present in the water will be entering it. So whatever is needed by its body will be retained, and the water carrying the waste and the carbon dioxide will go out through the larger opening known as osculum. Enters through ostia, leaves out through osculum. Okay, once again I will repeat. In porifera, respiration, or means exchange of gases or removal of waste, intake of food and oxygen, all that is carried out by a water transport or a canal system. To facilitate it, they have so many minute openings throughout their body. You call it as ostia. And there is one single large opening known as osculum. And water with oxygen and the food particles will enter its cavity through ostia, and it will retain the food and oxygen required, and the waste and carbon dioxide will be released out through the larger opening that is known as, which is the largest opening?
Osculum.
Osculum. Okay, then respiratory system is also absent. Already I mentioned it is carried out by the same water canal system. Circulatory system is also absent. The circulation of substances required is carried out by the canal system. Same is applicable. None of the systems are present. Excretion, respiration, circulation, all are carried out by the same system. That is not system, the water transport or the water canal system, not any organ system. And nervous system is absent. Now coming to the reproduction. It's a hermaphrodite. In class 10, you might have learned about hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite means male and female sex organs will be found in the same organism. Male and female sex organs in the same organism. So sperms and ova will be produced by the same organism. No male and female organism. Both are in the same individual or same single organism. And they can carry out asexual reproduction also by means of fragmentation. Sexual reproduction takes place by the formation of sperms and ova. Since it's a hermaphrodite, sperms and ova will be produced by the same organism. An internal fertilization. It's not, even though it is an aquatic organism like in frogs and all, fertilization is not external, but within its body, it is internal fertilization. Fusion of sperms and ovum takes place, sperm and ovum takes place within the body or inside its body. And development is indirect. Indirect development means there is a larval stage. So indirect development is the one which involves a larval stage. And this larva will be morphologically different from an adult. So if in the development, a larval stage is involved, which is different, which is morphologically or externally, in external features, if it is very much different from that of the adult, you call it as indirect development. So development is indirect. Once again, you can find indirect development in porifera, and a larval stage is involved, which is morphologically different from that of the adult. A few more features are there. I don't think we'll be able to complete that. So we'll continue with porifera in the next class also. We have just 5 more minutes. So I would like to hear from you. What are the points you learned? So one by one, you can tell the points. Vidur, I'll start with you. Tell me all the points we said just now. You don't have to say all the points. One point you can say. Otherwise, you will fail. Huh?
Porifera, they are generally marine.
They are generally marine. Next, Gayatri.
They are asymmetrical.
They are
Asymmetrical.
asymmetrical. Please unmute your microphone. I don't want to waste time. Nia?
Multicellular organism.
Multicellular, primitive multicellular organism. Naureen?
Exhibit cellular level of organization.
Exhibit cellular level of organization. Punya?
They do not have digestive system,
They do not have not only digestive system, none of the
nervous
organ systems are
system,
present.
respiratory
Then
system.
Evelyn,
Through
what do
canal
they have?
system. Canal system.
They have a water canal system. What are the functions carried out by the water canal system, Nandana?
There is intake of water which contains food and oxygen through small pores scattered over all the body.
You just tell me those
ostia.
functions. What are the functions
Ostia.
carried out by the water canal system? Intake of food, then
And expelling waste and
expelling
carbon
waste,
dioxide.
exchange of.
Gases.
Okay. Next point, Anna. Anna.
Respiratory system.
All the points she said? No. What type of digestion? I can't hear you.
Circulatory system.
Circulatory system? Present.
No circulatory system.
None of the systems are present. That I told it as single point. Any other point, Anna?
Reproduction. They have asexual reproduction. Both
Asexual reproduction by? By?
fragmentation.
Yes, by fragmentation. Donna?
Sexual reproduction by sperms and ova.
Sexual reproduction by sperms and ova. And Malavika, another point?
Their fertilization is internal.
Internal fertilization. Nevin, another point?
The hermaphrodites.
They are hermaphrodite. What are hermaphrodites? Sania, what do you mean by hermaphrodite? My God, what happened? Purposely I've asked somebody to make noise when I ask question. Yes, Sania. No
Both
problem.
female and male in a single body.
Okay. Okay, then next point. Any other point? One more point. Lydia, another point.
Ma'am, water enters through.
Water enters through. You are going to give the details of water canal system. Okay, in water canal system, water enters through.
Cold.
Louder, Lydia. Water enters through.
Small openings called ostia.
Openings. What do you call that small openings?
Ostia.
Ostia. And it will leave out through.
Large opening.
What do you call large opening? Osculum. Osculum. So one more point is missing. Rijas will say that. Which point is missing, Rijas?
The development is indirect.
Indirect. What do you mean by indirect development, Michael? Michael, what is indirect development? Michael. Till now your video was on. Michael, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Tell me what is meant by indirect development.
I'm not sure, ma'am.
You should be sure. You tell me the answer only, then we'll end the meeting. Who will help him? Steffi is also there. Steffi, tell what is meant by indirect development. After that, Michael will repeat and then we'll wind up the session. Steffi?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what is indirect development.
The development does not take place directly.
Oh, that means expansion of the sentence. Expansion of the sentence, Steffi. Turn the video on first of all.
Ma'am, power of...
Okay, it's on only. Because if I need to scold, I should look at your face and scold, no? Naureen, just tell what is that. Let her hear and say. Both of you, Steffi and Michael, listen carefully. Yes.
It involves a larval stage
which
larva is not same as the adults.
Which is morphologically different from the adult. Now, Steffi can repeat after that, Michael. Yes.
It is morphologically different.
Who is morphologically different?
Larva.
Larva is morphologically different from the
Adult body.
Adult. So such a development you call it as?
Indirect development.
Yes. Michael, repeat it fast.
Okay. Larval stage is morphologically distinct from the adult.
So we call it as dash development.
Indirect development.
Okay. Thank you, children. See you in the evening.